All right. All right. We're back for another segment of Thunderous Altercations. This is episode 3.
Ah,
I'm so excited to be back. It's been of course, another long week. Lots of stuff going on,
yeah.
but nevertheless, we're back, and I'm here with I'm David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Big Pandemic, and my co-host, the lovely Kelly Renee.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, man. Just nothing much. Just trying to survive.
Trying to survive, like just like within just the regular day or COVID.
Just mentally, just searching for that silver bullet to try to get back to, I don't know, normalcy. I just want my life back.
You want your life back?
Yes.
Well, first of all, let's talk about your life for just one brief moment. Happy birthday. Well, I wished you a happy birthday on your birthday, but for those of you that don't know, David just celebrated a birthday on Monday. So happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Turned the big 50.
Oh,
Da-
did you now?
Yeah. Damn, I'm getting old.
50?
Yeah, 50.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, 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 wow. So 50. So what did you do?
Actually, I didn't do much. I went to work for the first time in 3 months. Went in the building.
What?
Uh, was in my office all day.
Uh-huh.
Cleaned up and did a little work. So that felt good to just be in the building or getting dressed to go to work. And
Okay.
then after that, had dinner and I had a show in the counselor's corner that night. So I kept it light. And like I said in that segment, I said the thing about it is once this pandemic or things open up and I feel more safe, I can
Mm-hmm.
always celebrate and do something special. I still got 6 months left to
Six
bring
months?
it. Yeah, I look at it as it. I don't have to celebrate on my actual day. Long as
Okay.
long as I'm healthy and things are safe, I can say it could be October. I can say, hey, now is the day I'm celebrating my 50th.
Okay. All right.
You making that face like, oh, you can't do that. Well,
Listen, it's all good. That's you. Got to do you. But I mean, I get it. Like you talking about the pandemic, and I'm thinking about as far as people taking polls and percentages as far as when they create or come up with this vaccine, like how many people are really going to actually get this vaccine? And it's really not a lot of people that are really interested in getting a vaccine. And then some people are still on the fence, and some people just flat out was like, yeah, I'll do it, or no. Are you going to get the vaccine though when it comes out?
I think I have to kind of see how things are going, and some people basically, are they getting ill? Is it something? I have to have like a kind of like a trial basis to kind of see, like, all right, it seems like it's working, but I'm just not going to be one of the first ones racing to get it.
Okay, so you need everybody else to be a guinea pig to go and get it first. See how they react if they're gonna start like turning into somebody like from off of Thriller, coming out zombie like, and
Un-
then just getting like distorted within their own body figures, or just actually just seeing that it's working. Because I mean, truth be told, I don't even deal with the flu shot.
yeah, and it took me. I think I might have had that a couple times since it's been out, but I use typically don't get it. I don't get it.
But being that you work in a school, it's not a requirement. Like they don't make it mandatory that you have to get it.
No, they don't. I mean, they offer it sometimes in this. They offer it or tell us places that we can go get it done, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
mandatory.
Okay. All right. I get that. I mean, it's not mandatory where I work either. But of course, when it comes to the school systems, they make it mandatory as far as that these kids got to get these vaccinations before they can even come into school. And the funny thing about it is that my kid, my child started school at real school this year for pre-K. And, you send all your information in for registration and you send in the shot records. But the funny thing is, it was like other shots, of course, that he had to get. And then they never even followed up as far as even throughout the rest of the year to see if he had it. Can you send us in the updated information? They did none of that. So it's
Wow.
like, they're not really on top of it.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, and even with the when I think about working in a school with our nurse. She has so many day to day
Hmm.
issues to put out. It's almost like they need two nurses because those kids they come down for every little thing, and you have your
Hmm.
chronic ones that's always something going on. So I can imagine it's probably after a long day, she may want to do a little paperwork, but after school, but she's probably exhausted because the traffic is crazy. Anytime I go in there, it's like like 10 kids sitting there
Uh-huh.
waiting for service. I'm like, oh my God, I walked into the wrong place.
Okay.
Mm,
Gotcha.
yeah, because it's usually when I walk in there, it's a kid coming with, oh, Mr. Glover, glad you're here. Could you take this kid with you? Because they were saying it like, oh God, I shouldn't have came.
Yeah, wrong. Yeah, timing was totally off. Now I didn't got involved and I have to now do some work because I've
Yeah,
been pushed over somebody's child that's now having an issue that I need to take care of. So,
exactly.
with that being said, I'm glad you did enjoy at least some kind of time within your birthday. Just having the blessing altogether of being able to turn another age, being here for another year, that's a blessing all within itself. So you got goals, you got plans for the future. That's great. You did your counselor's corner. That's even better. So, just still keeping yourself out there within doing your little projects as well. And,
That's
keeping
all
it
you
fresh.
can do. Just
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
trying to
yeah.
self reflect, whatever, and think about trying to move forward. That's all.
Right, right. Which that's great. That's great. So speaking of, for those of you who missed last week, me and David got into it. Do you remember what that topic was, David? What were we talking about last week?
The four highly effective principles, like in relationships.
Yeah, yeah. As far as in relationships, yeah. So we kind of did not see a lot of the eye to eye with that. Especially when I was telling you just in the recap, just briefly, that with guys that decided that they want to get their act together and now come back and thinking, of course, within a long amount of time, as far as too long that you've been single and broken up, and then they want to try to show you how much of a better person they have become. And I was like, nah, that's just not cool. Not gonna work. Nobody's waiting around for nobody to get their self together and within a 5-year time span. And he was like, no, I want to prove myself. It's not gonna work.
I just play the percentages that I would think that outcome may be a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better than a
Right.
random person at this time. I don't know. Even though you said that 5 years they become random, but you know,
Yeah,
you
no,
know who they are. You know who they are. You know the
yeah.
basics.
Oh, of course, yeah. In a sense, you knew who they were, and you knew that's what you wasn't trying to deal with anymore, and to keep pushing in the rest of your future as far as grabbing them and they just basically weighing you down. So you never know. If you want to try it, y'all go right ahead. I can't do it. So anyway, welcome to Thunderous Altercations, everyone. Again, we're here and we're live, and you are free to comment and give feedback throughout this broadcast. If you're picking us up right now on WPB Media Networks, on Facebook, watch live on our page, whatever the case may be. So we got a treat for you today, and this may be something that you definitely want to comment and give some feedback on. We're talking about mercy, mercy me. This is what normal looks like to me. So this is where we are. We're going to basically talk about as far as media changes, things that have been made, things that we've been looking at within these last couple of months. Because today, being if you live in Maryland, I know as of March 13th, that was the day that my whole life changed. And that was the last day of my full day at work inside of the office, where my desk and my computer and all my little belongings are. And I have not seen it since. So this marks 3 months today. So why not on our third episode? Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about as far as voting, the mayoral and the presidential election, especially within the presidential election coming up in November. Going to get into the Black Lives Matter, how the protests are going on, how the movement is still moving, how every state is just basically about to be literally on fire. We're going to talk about how some Black people don't like Black people. We're going to talk about that as well. And summer camps, because the kids are important. They have mental stress. What about COVID-19? Let's talk about the numbers. Is it really a hoax, or is what we're seeing actually factual and actual? Like, that's what we're going to get into today. So hopefully you guys are ready for the ride. David, are you?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You
I'm ready.
laughing?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Ah,
Uh, I, if I'm laughing, I'm not laughing. I'm just, I don't know. It's a lot. All those topics are important, and I think sometimes you have to have a smile or grin because you're like, man, this is unbelievable. All of this stuff happening at one time.
of
Like there's no chill right there. Like it's always something. It's always something going on.
Yes. And you know what? I think we honestly can see that there's always something going on right now because we have so much time on our hands to actually see everything that's going on. Imagine the fact if we were still living our normal day-to-day lives and we were just driving back and forth to work and going all around and about within our normal days and picking, stuff up and not having to have a face mask on your face and, just doing you how you was doing it before it all got shut down in March. Like, we got too much time on our hands to actually analyze, interpret, look at everything that's going on, and actually starting to think to see, like, can we change any of this? Like, what can I do now to really get involved? Because of what we're seeing and what's unfolding, you're seeing all of the facts of and the realness of what is cannot be hidden any longer.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I think the more days that go by, you kind of look at it and say, man, they really don't care about us. They don't give a damn. They're doing what they want to do, and it's scary. Because also, and people may get mad at me for saying this, but I think with us as blacks, how long are we going to sustain the momentum of sticking together or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case is? Is it going to be a point of after a while, like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't do it no more. But we're gonna come back to this. We're gonna kind of wrap this set introduction segment up and come back, and believe me, you don't
Okay.
want to go. You don't want to go anywhere because the heat is about to is real. It's about to get real hot up in here. So we'll
Yes,
be back
sir.
momentarily on Thunderous Altercations.
All
See you
right.
soon.
All right.
Stay tuned to get this designer pan free from Gotham Steel. Tired of your pan that scratches and sticks? Well, it's time to upgrade.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new copper-style designer pan that's guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before. Eggs stick to other pans, but with mine they slide right out. And look, it still has the super durable ultra non-stick surface. It's oven safe up to 500 degrees, so bake chicken pot pie and serve it straight from the pan. And then it wipes clean with ease.
Wow, this is a beautiful pan. It looks great. Look at that. I love how they swirl. I tell you, I'm sold.
I can't believe how beautiful this pan is.
Similar hammered pans sell for almost $100, but today it's an incredibly low $29.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But wait, call right now and you can get a matching single-serve egg pan absolutely free. You'll get it all. Call now.
Call 1-800-626-9128. That's 1-800-626-9128 or go to gothamhammered.com.
I don't know. So yes, going on it is a word. And financially, oh my! Oh, the system.
Gotta be my child. Beyblade.
All right. Okay, we're back on Thunderous Altercations. Here's your
Yes.
boys, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Big Pandemic, and my co-host, the lovely Kelly Renee.
Thank
So we
you. That's so nice. You trying to be nice before I dig into your whole life real quick and ruin it?
Well, I don't know. I guess. I guess
You
that
called.
strategy. I guess that strategy didn't work. If
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'll take the compliment, but thank you so much. But it's about to get real. So
it's about to get real. So go ahead. Let's lead it off.
okay, so basically, before we went in the break, we told you that mercy, mercy me. This is what normal is to me. This is the topic of today, so we're going to talk about it. So starting off with the media, basically how the media has changed the game. And I think in so many words, in a good way. Like you have more shows right now that are being created through COVID-19 because of the fact that I said of creativity. People are having more times on their hands, getting more into themselves and actually taking the initiative to step out and do something different, which is to make their voices heard. You know, people are now starting to develop their own platforms. Like we're here, we, staying safe, we're broadcasting live. We are basically still able to produce and have our show thanks to WPB Media. And the fact that we're still getting our points out here. So you got now people who have actually started investing their time and their creativity, going over to YouTube, Periscope, and now being heard. And as I'm looking at the news, how even just watching the news, and I'm not a news person, I really don't like watching the news unless it's for the weather and I'm, looking at certain things that I'm looking for. But other than that, just watching how they're broadcasting. Like you got some people now at home, they're keeping their distance. And I think it's slick because you kind of get to see some of these news anchors like personalities and their nice houses. Like I'm Chelsea with the horse stable. Like I want to know where she live at. Because, maybe I need to be inside the newsroom so I can get a horse stable because, they doing it. But just saying, they're still giving information and staying safe. And they're leading by that example. So, when you think of it, do you think people are being more creative, David? Or do you think they're just bored?
I kind of got a different. I do understand the creativity part, but I think now everybody is trying to do this. And I like to say to myself, I come from little old Niagara Falls, where I feel like, I've been doing this type of stuff, podcasting, the blog talk and stuff like that for a while now. And I think everybody says, oh, I can do that now. And you check out some of their stuff and you're like, they need to sit down somewhere. It's preparation to this. It's research. You just can't get on here and start talking or think you could have a subject matter and you don't have no background experience or whatever. So I think that part is kind of annoying to me. And I think that there's so many people trying to do something that nobody supports, try to take somebody to the top and then kind of filter it down like, okay, you helped me rise, now I'm going to help you grow. Everybody is out there for themselves, just trying to be something that they're probably never will be.
Oh my God.
I said people may get mad. I don't care. I don't even care at this point.
My ears. Oh, I'm melting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you what you said annoying though? You said annoying, like they're being annoying.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna, put myself out there. Like I have a podcast show. I've done several radio shows. And just dipping in different platforms and areas. And when I started to just be like, forget it, I'm not gonna do radio anymore. I was like, let me just go ahead and branch out and just do this podcast where I can have freedom of speech and actually not have to censor myself with the FCC. And I can say all the ish people are afraid to say. Yeah, for those of you who listen. And basically, I sucked. Like, when I started, I had the minimal amount of platform time, 15 minutes. I had it was like a different delivery. It was just kind of still within the same of what I wanted to do, but it was just like I needed to reevaluate after every season. Like, what do I need to do better? And then as I started really reevaluating those parts that were weak, I started getting better and to my own horn. And I started being more creative. Then I started bringing in the sound effects and I started using my voice and then I changed it up. And I had to learn as far as what I needed to do to actually put myself out there within promoting and even talking about topics, where I would put something out there and then try to tease my next show. And then before I get to do my topic, somebody else then took it. And I'm like, oh, okay. but it's
Yeah.
all still within how I deliver it. So I wasn't going to change it up. I may have said other things that they didn't mention. And so I feel as though, I probably was that annoying person and was maybe a little irritating to listen to it. But I think as you try to stick with it, and again, if it's something that you are very invested in, you grow from it. I think you can become annoying to a star, darling. Yes.
Well, I guess one of the things I say, like, look at your background now. You got, you got the banner and stuff like that, represent your brand. You can't come on here trying to talk about you got a show and you got Hennessy bottles, dirty clothes in the background, laundry baskets and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right.
That's the stuff that's annoying. Like, sit down somewhere. And
Hmm.
you got kids darting through and all that stuff, but you talking about you got a show, Conversations Corner and stuff like that. Sit down somewhere for real. Clean up your background before you try to step into this world.
Listen, you got people who take selfies with dirty backgrounds and still get thousands of likes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all about it's all about who you sometimes already know. Your whole show could be just called dirt, and
yeah.
then you got just dirt behind you, so you represent it really well. But I think again, it goes back to the fact of somebody maybe having to call that person out to be like, you know what? If you just kind of tweak that dirty laundry basket a little bit and then put it left, you know, we can get a whole different look, or just maybe change up the background. But maybe the thing is of what they're displaying, that's really their personality. And they would be that show that would get the thousands of followers, likes, all the shares and things of that nature, because it's again depending on what kind of generation they're coming from. Now, somebody in our generation of our age, we know better. So we're not gonna represent ourselves like that. But still, just to say all in the same, if they represent themselves or their shows like that, they still could get love. And I've
Yeah,
seen it. I've
yeah.
seen it.
Oh yeah, I've seen it too. I've seen it too. And you like,
And they
like
can grow.
they can if they're coachable, if they're
Coachable.
coachable. Yeah.
Okay. I feel you. I mean, again, I think the only coach they may have, if they don't have money to invest in somebody that actually puts that time in themselves, is them continuously coaching themselves and actually starting to look at their numbers. Again, like I said, you got people who haven't even sewn a thing in their life and they making masks out of all kinds of materials, things that we need out here and we'll need for within, I don't know how much longer. It's not going to be as far as a short stint. I think it's going to be a longevity type of thing. So we're always going to now need those personal protection equipment for us. And again, they got new stuff coming as far as, within making your own hand sanitizer, just being creative. People have really, I think, stepped their creative game up. And I think they're going somewhere with it. I commend those people who decided to really take the time that they now have the downtime to do something that they may have always wanted to do. But speaking of the shows, you got YouTube shows, you got Zoom interviews that are going on with people who've already been in the media. And I think that was the most creative thing that they could have came out with, because again, they're still keeping themselves and their selves within their show relevant. And they have a different platform now. They're pulling in different watchers, listeners. So yeah, I really think that this downtime may have been the time that some of us really needed.
Oh, no question. And it has value to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I had, told you before off the record that I've been taking online, like master storytelling presentation
Mm-hmm.
classes, and some of the stuff that I'm learning is amazing. I've been sitting back watching hours and hours of people introducing their speech, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
breaking it down and telling them what they need to do. And some of the stuff I'm like, wow, like I just never thought about it. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, I'm in the process of completing my first speech, and I'll be going live with it or dropping a
Okay.
video. but
Okay.
it's really interesting, like the blueprint to do it. And I would have never
Mhm.
thought about it. So now every time I see someone speak, I know like the little hidden things that I'll be looking for to try to hone in my craft. And like I said, soon I'm going to be joining Toastmasters and um, some platforms like that to try to make this storytelling thing real.
I got you. Right. But do you actually find that the shows are still credible, that they're doing it within their interviews and YouTube and Zoom, or do you rather watch it as how they used to do it before, as far as on a live location and being able to have that actual personal one-on-one energy and conversation with?
Um, I think it works good both ways. It depending on who the individual is, because some people
Mhm.
I still, I always go into YouTube, and if it's something I'm passionate about, that I can
Mhm.
watch something over and over and still learn something different. So I think the bottom line, if you follow that person and if you believe in them and you know they bring quality content, you'll watch them no matter where they're doing it from because you believe in that person and you're
Mhm.
engaged you're engaged with their deliverance.
Okay. Gotcha. And I get that. I do, again, appreciate the fact that with the way that the news is set up and the way that they're still trying to keep their staff safe, rotating staff in every other week, with the anchors that are doing and delivering the news, the weather, the meteorologists that are out at their house and or coming into the studio. The one irritating thing that's bothering me is that when I do look at and listen to like the sports, it don't matter if I go to, 13 or channel 11. Where are they? Because they're like in the most boring area. Like it's just so drab. Like, are y'all in the basement in your house and that's what your setup is looking like? Or y'all somewhere in the back area in the studio with this small TV and a couple of little sports trinkets that they didn't decorated like they just look like they're not even excited to give the sports report. And I guess because sports is really not going on, it's not happening. I was listening to the fact that now when it comes to baseball and the schedule, they're trying to shorten it up, but then now it's a money thing. So I'm just like, oh my goodness. But honestly, let's talk about sports real quick. Do you believe that sports should get started? Like, do you think it's safe enough for sports to start their seasons and get started?
Well, I'm going to answer that quickly, then we're going to take a short break.
Okay.
I understand the money aspect. I'm a little
hmm
concerned,
hmm
you know yeah, about their safety, but also like sports is based on fans, that energy. And like I've seen a couple boxing matches and you look like and there's only like a few people there, and I'm like, it gives you this eerie type of feeling. So I know basketball is scheduled to start July 31st again, and they're going to be in Orlando every where they're going to have a play-in. I think maybe like, I don't know, 22 teams, and then they're going to have
hmm
playoffs and stuff like that. But that whole thing with them just being kind of weird, but I love basketball, so I look forward to seeing what's going to happen. I hope that they're safe and um, we don't come into any major complications, but I know some players are questioning it too, so it's going to be interesting. But we're going to pick that back up when we get back, and we're going to take a quick break. So go get your popcorn, go fill up your drink, your happy hour drink on a Saturday, and we'll be back on Thunderous Altercations.
Yes, yes, yes.
Everybody okay? How long has that been away from me? Well, I'm fine.
Frustrated with heavy rubber hoses that always get tangled and easily kink? Introducing the Bionic Flex Pro hose, the super strong, super tough hose that's ultra light as well. Run over an ordinary hose and it'll easily burst, but the Bionic Flex Pro hose stays intact no matter what runs over it, because its reinforced drag-resistant, commercial-grade outer polyester weave makes it tougher and stronger than ever. And its solid brass fittings are crush-proof too. Ordinary hoses kink easily and stop working. But the Bionic Flex Pro hose never kicks. It just keeps flowing strong. And while regular hoses easily get tangled, the Bionic Flex Pro hose is tangle-proof. You can get the 25-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose for just $19.95 with free shipping. But wait, order today and we'll upgrade your order to a 50-foot Bionic Flex Pro hose. Just pay a separate fee, and shipping is still free. Go now.
Call 1-800-304-3892.
All right, we're back on Thunderous Altercations, and this is David Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor, and back with my lovely co-host. I'm riding that theme, Kelly Renee. And
Okay.
we left off. We left off talking about sports a little bit and my comfortability. Should it be back? And my selfish side of it is like, man, I need it back. I mean, I need sports. It gives me motivation to want to do things, especially like when you have like the sports interviews and hear some of their stories and backgrounds. I'm always amazed, and that stuff kind of hooks me in. But I just want to see how it's going to work out, and hopefully everything works out. And it's all brand new, this format. And it's going to be weird, but hopefully that's kind of a sign to pick up the pieces, because no matter what, sports is a part of our culture in America, and people kind of use that as a time frame. Baseball season, football season, basketball season. So Saturday nights, boxing and stuff like that. So that's part of people's daily routine. So that it'll be nice to see some of it back.
Yeah, like you said, part of people's daily routine, but we're not doing normal daily routines. We haven't been for months, and we still have this whole pandemic going on right now. And again, I understand that everybody wants to be entertained and be entertained within the way they're accustomed to being entertained when it comes to sports and things of that nature. But then again, for our selfishness, we got to think about the fact of the health for the players. And not only that, but the people who bought tickets, and of course the fact that they want to go inside and actually watch the games live. I mean, it's too much going on too quick. And we ain't even in no second wave yet. We still in the first wave with this. And it's summer, which they said, oh, when it's hotter, this is gonna die down more. And yeah, you'll see. But then the scary thing about it is you got these asymptomatic people out here. And then the fact that you got people that are trusting other people that they're around right now because they feel, okay, they're probably real healthy or whatever the case may be. But what is it, 1 in 6 or something that has it? And then they're talking about the fact now that the CDC had released some new health guidelines with, of course, still wear the mask. Again, still keeping distance. What else did they say? They said something real weird today, which was a new one. And I'm so mad I can't think of it, probably because of me sipping this wine over here. But it was something weird. Like, it was like roll over. No, I'm kidding. But I was just like, oh, that's a new one. Like, good gracious. Like, what else? What you got? But yeah, moving forward, basically again, it's still going on, and people then forgot, the weather is just really putting people out there. Last night they were tripping again in Fells Point. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand, but there's a lot of people that still have the mentality of thinking that this thing is not real, and it is.
It's gonna be a wild summer. It's gonna be wild. I just know people. I mean, it's been that's true. That's true. But I just think it's gonna pick up as time go on. Like, it's scary wild.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like somebody had said earlier, like, were we ever closed? Like, people in Baltimore City are following whatever the governor says. So whatever the governor says, but again, not listening to the local authorities as far as like with our mayor, and he's still under stage 1 and was like, and I am not trying to move to stage 2. So speaking of that, segueing into that, the votes are basically in. Like, you know, it was the fact of kinda, in a sense, because they were having little issues. And I'm just wondering, like, is there some type of personal vendetta why maybe our mayor, that's still our mayor, is not trying to go into stage 2? Because he's not going to be our mayor for another little term. He came in as an acting mayor anyway, and he didn't want the job at that point.
Yeah, and
So then he decided to run.
I think I read something, and he's kind of. I know he conceded, but he was saying something to the effect that he, you know, thought that he should be commended for the way he's been handling the COVID-19. So I guess he's pretty much said he's not trying to have people for the situation to get worse under his leadership. So he's been holding firm for them to stay where they at. But meanwhile, you had with Sheila Dixon and Brandon Scott battling it out in a tough battle, which Brandon ended up winning. The little young gun about to take over.
Yeah, the young gunslinger is about to run the city. And the interesting thing is, like, every time it comes to the mayoral election, like, there's always something going on, like with the votes. Like, we couldn't technically get out to go and do the voting like we used to do, how we were accustomed to. Because again, this is the norm. They got the mail out ballots out late. People were very concerned, who again exercised their right to vote. Do you vote, David?
Yeah, I vote. I haven't always voted, but I have voted the last few since Barack. Because other than that, I used to have that mentality. Like, what's the point? Why? Because
why?
Throughout my years, I never felt like anything was different from one president to the next. I still felt like Black folks, we were still in the same conditions, and only way we could change is we have to change ourselves. So we can't sit around and worry about who's in office. But I know that sometimes not the presidential, it's those local, the local electives that's can impact the communities and stuff like that. So, but that was my mindset then.
Okay, and then you changed your mindset since Barack?
Well, right now I'm still like, man, like either you got Trump or Biden. I mean, I don't. The left of both of you, I don't know. Nothing, neither one of them stand out to me. Neither one. Obviously, most people will say, "Oh, there's no way in hell I'll vote for Trump." But I had seen something saying that pretty much out of the blacks that's registered to vote, 40% approve Trump. 40 of them approve Trump. So those numbers are scary because if he's got 40% of blacks kind of pulling for him, it's going to be, he may be doing another 4.
Okay. All right. We'll touch that in a second. So anyway, yeah, shout out to Brandon Scott. You won. Good job. Sheila was almost there. Sheila was over him, and then whatever reason, once stuff started coming in, like they were saying, they couldn't give us an accurate count until all the ballots that came in. And then they would be able to give us an accurate count and stuff. It's just funny because she had ran again a couple years back, and then it was still real weird. And she came back and then tried it again, and then again, it still was real weird and stuff. So I'm not going to personally ask you, do you believe in Brandon Scott to actually be able to turn this city around and run it as a mayor? So we're not going to get into that because it's just like work. You're not supposed to talk about certain things like that. But moving forward, just saying, do you think he's the best choice over Sheila?
I mean, the one thing Sheila has is experience, and what I recall or what I hear. I mean, I've been down here for 15 years, saying that the murder rate was down when she was in office. So clearly, she must have been doing something right? But also, it's something about that innovative young blood,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the appeal to the younger population that he could possibly get to, and those probably are the ones that's committing the crimes and out there wilding out. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully he can bring a different zest and some new ideas because of his age. So I guess we just have to see. I mean, he hasn't won yet. He's still got to go against the Republican, but from
Mm-hmm.
what I read, it seems like he should be a shoe in to
Okay.
win. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
got to see.
Gotcha. And then moving right on forward through our city, because we got a lot of stuff going on in our city, your city, everybody else's city, all Black Lives Matter protests. They are happening right now around the world. The different countries are pulling within the Black Lives Matter. More countries, more people are actually now getting into this movement as opposed to before when it had first started. Do you know why that may be an increase in numbers now as opposed to before?
I think right now, I know for blacks, they're pretty much fed up with it. Is again, the more exposure. I guess when you actually see someone actually die right
Mm-hmm.
there, that has an impact. And unless you just some evil, wicked person, that has to touch you. Like wow, like to sit there and see it filmed and someone lose their life. I think people are responding like that was cruel. So they are joining. But what I would say, even like from my hometown, Niagara Falls, when they've been doing it, I was like, somehow, some way, we got to get at that table with them. You got to sit down with them at the table uh, to have some of these conversations.
Upstairs. Right, exactly. And with that, I'm thinking within all the different peaceful protests that are going on right now, yeah, people are angry. People are tearing stuff up. People who are still angry aren't tearing things up. But I think it's all important. And as far as I think people thought it was just going to be like a one or two type of day thing, no, not this time around. Not this time around. And you still got things that are up in the air as far as what's going to happen with the trial from George Floyd. One of the officers was released on what was that, bail the
Uh,
other night. And again, let's talk about that. Do you think he should have been released?
Absolutely not. Not at all.
Absolutely not.
No, he shouldn't be released. No, not at all.
Do you know why he was released?
I kind of skimmed through, seeing the headlines, and I never even. I think my mindset was, well, here we come with the crap. So I don't know. You know why he was released?
Yeah, he was released because one, he's a rookie, and two, he mentioned that he tried to tell his field training officer, which was what's his name, Chauvin, that him, uh, to why don't you turn him over on his side, and he didn't. So that's why he was released, is because in the fact that they're looking at like he tried to help.
Hmm.
So they let him go. Now the other two, of course, are still in there because the other one, which was standing guard to when everything was being filmed and recorded, wasn't trying to go around there and assist. And the other one that was off on the other side, again, was not trying to do anything to help or assist either. Which a lot of people are thinking, like with the officer that got out on the bail, that he should address the world as far as to basically do something as a press conference to let it be known on his position of what he played, because of the fact of the uproar that can come, especially once these charges go in and go forward within trial.
Do you think maybe it's fear the reason or he's being told you can't
Could be
go
told
public?
that
Yeah.
he could be told. They have of course their union reps, they have lawyers, attorneys as well, that's telling them what should or should not do. Now I just want to know if he wants to push past that and do something as far as to actually be vocal and tell us.
I guess it would be the honorable thing to do. Because he probably have more people. He probably could champion more people if he took that stance. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know if he's go dime his people out like that. He probably wish it could just go away, and then he end up can live his regular life, which I doubt would be regular at this point. But hey, we're gonna have to take another break.
Okay.
Oh man, time is flying by. Such good conversation, but we'll be back and we're gonna tackle this last segment. And hey, feel free to chime in on the feed, and it's continually going on. So even if you don't do it now, you can always come back, watch the watch party, comment, and keep the dialogue going. But we'll be back shortly.
All right.
All right. Okay, good people. We're back on Thunderous Altercations, and been having a productive show. Lots of information. I hope you're paying attention. You could chime in.
Yes.
Maybe not even if you're not doing it at this time, go back and review it and share it. And let's keep the dialogue going. Yeah, comment because it's definitely necessary.
Yeah.
So when we left off, Kelly, we was talking about the Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
So
And I
you could
just wanted
finish
to
elaborating.
kind of tie up that end on Black Lives Matter. The protests, I think, are great as long as you keep it peaceful. Of course, there's a lot of different back and forth as far as with the people who are burning down and destroying things within their community and areas of it, like how we had the Freddie Gray riots here. You have people in Seattle. Oh God, my people in Seattle then named the police station the People Station. They are wilding in Seattle, but I love the fact that they're doing it peacefully. They're protesting peacefully. Again, more people are involved. But the thing about it is, if we're going to be real and we're going to be clear, people, as far as Black Lives Matter, we got to put all Black lives into it. And I know this is Pride Month, and we got to not forget, as far as that, you got Black trans who are dying out here too. Their lives matter just as well because they are Blacks as well. I think people just have a melanin issue when it comes to racism. I also want to let it be known that we cannot continue to keep pushing within the Black Lives Matter until we do stop the Black on Black crime as well. We got to learn how to care about our own as well. We got to learn how to stop that crap right now, to the extent if we're going to move forward and make this worth anything. These are the things that have to stop, because it's not going to mean nothing if that doesn't stop. And we tend to not want to address the elephant in the room at times, but you got Black people who don't like Black people. And that's another issue. So we are trying to fight within for our race as a whole on being important, that we are being taken out by authority figures because of the fact that they're cowards and they feel as though they have the power to do that. But we got to put all of it in. We all have to come together for our culture, for our race, for our people.
Yeah, it's sort of now or never, and that's a valid point.
And it's now.